right, very big thank you for staying with us. Glad to have you back to the conversation segment. Joining us this morning happens to be Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, who is a public affairs analyst. We'll be analyzing the road to Anambra election. Let's talk about the security situation and the IPOB agitation and wherever that needs to be talked about. Thank you very much, Mr. Wisdom, for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much, Wisdom. Wisdom. Anyway, it's always a good sound. Thank you. Nice to be on the show.
All right. What will be our general assessment of the state of the nation? Let's start from the nation before we dive to Anambra.
Well, currently now, I think the state of the nation, for me, is covered around what is happening in Anambra at the moment. The issue of security, the issue of people feeling safe to go and cast their votes, and I mean, all that is happening in Anambra State. I think the nation currently is engulfed by it, and we are all concerned. If I will use that word, but right now, I think the country is just trying to see where are we moving to. Everybody is preparing for 2023. The people are curious what's going to happen next. Cost of things are still increasing. I mean, the cost of bread alone, agege bread or normal bread, like has gone up by 100%, if not 200%. One food seller was telling me today, earlier today, that they used to buy a bag of beans for about 15,000 naira, and the same bag of beans is costing about 50,000 naira now. And me, for one, last month, I bought a bag of rice for about 30,000 naira. This bag of rice used to cost less than this amount some months ago. So the cost of things now for someone like me, you have
all right, your network was having issue. All right, let me quickly address this issue, because for me, I'm very optimistic. I am monitoring the situation in Anambra State, because I know that whatever happens in Anambra State come the Friday, Saturday election is going to be a general signal to us what is going to happen in 2023 when we talk about the southeastern part of Nigeria. From what you've seen so far, do you think there is every tendency that the election is going to be peaceful and successful?
Wow, if you ask me that, if the election in Anambra will be peaceful and successful, we can only wait but see what happens. Because currently, looking at what is happening over there, I'm a bit concerned. I watched a video on TV the other day how the military and the police were attacked, and they sort of entered into a gun battle with some gunmen, and all of that happening. And then with the heavy security presence in Anambra, will just only scare people from coming out to cast their votes. So if that election will be successful, I fear that the voter apathy, because people will be scared to come out to come and vote. And also, I was listening to the INEC chairman just the other day talking about the statistics of voter registration and everything. He was also concerned that a lot of people didn't come out to register to even vote in the election. And this is important, and there must be a change of government in Anambra. The election will happen, but if the election will be successful, I doubt if that will be possible. Because there will largely be voter apathy, and the heavy security presence in Anambra too is a big concern. It might make everybody feel safe, but if you live in Anambra right now, if you want to be very truthful to yourself, will you be comfortable to come out and vote, looking at what's happening? But nevertheless, I personally want to encourage people. Your polling unit close to your house, it should be easier for you to come out and cast your vote and go back to your house, just for your own safety. But if that election will be successful, I'm curious to see what will happen.
Let's talk about the audacity of the IPOB, because so many times on this program I've spoken about how the IPOB, which is already a proscribed organization, is making decisions for the government of the day. How would you react to this?
I would say how far IPOB has come so far is a reflection of the kind of leadership we have in this country. The leadership who has not been willing to engage well enough. So IPOB growing their influence to this stage, I'm just going to say, is a reflection of our leaders in the country, especially the federal government. But for Anambra particularly, I've listened to the candidates, share their plans for Anambra and how they hope to engage IPOB once they become governor. And I can say that only a few of them have been able to share with audacity what they really are going to do about IPOB. But I was listening to the radio early hours of this morning, and I like what one of the analysts said. He said, look, that he would have encouraged IPOB, if they are serious about what they want to do, they should have seized the opportunity, to go into government. When Ojukwu took over Biafra many years ago, he was able to do that because he was already a governor of the Eastern region, and he had the powers, he had the government in his hand, and he was able to make decisions. If really the people of IPOB think that's the way to go, So for me, I would even encourage them to allow this election, to go on, and even though they don't have the powers to stop the election, but at the same time, if they really are serious about their agitations, going into government might just be a good way to make their voices heard. Positioning their people in different political parties and to go into government will be a way to drive their agitations, forward. But that's not what we see happening. So I just want to say that how far IPOB has come now is a reflection of our leaders. That's one. And secondly, aside from one or two candidates during their governorship debate, were able to show the audacity that they will be able to engage if they become governor, because that is what will be very important for the Anambra people and the Southeast region entirely. But we should know that IPOB doesn't have those powers to stop the election. They are only agitating, but the power rests on the people to be able to come out and cast their votes. A government must come in. That is a must, and that will happen. This is why we need democracy, so that will happen. Yeah.
Let me talk about the issue of engagement, talking about the issue of conversation. I think I listened to Prof. Soludo, who is one of the aspirants, yeah. And the conversation is also geared on calling the IPOB, to a roundtable discussion. Let's iron things out. But when you look at the stand of the federal government in a way describing or prescribing IPOB as a terrorist organization, do you think it's in place to sit on a round table to discuss with terrorist organizations, just like saying, let's discuss with Boko Haram?
Well, anyways, I watched that debate. I watched that debate too. And before I answer your question, if I will analyze a bit of the things I heard in that debate, for someone like Andy Uba, who has been trying to be governor since 2007, personally, I was very disappointed at his delivery in that debate.
Yeah.
You have been trying to be governor since 2017. I expected that you are well grounded on what needs to be done. That debate, I was very disappointed at the candidate of the APC. So the way I see it, this election will be between Professor Soludo of the ABGA and Valentine Ozibo of the DP. I think the both of them show a bit readiness. They show some readiness, not a bit. They show some readiness to be able to handle what is happening in Anambra State. Well, talking about if we should sit down with IPOB, who have been proscribed as terrorist organization, to have a conversation with them. Well, when this government leaves successfully in 2023, we will know if proscribing IPOB as a terrorist organization was the right thing to do in the first place. But you see, to solve the problem, you have to engage. To solve the problem, you have to engage. We may not agree in the pattern at which they are driving their agitations, but what we cannot disregard is what they are really trying to, the message they are trying to send, and the agitations is what we cannot disregard. We can disagree in how they are going about it, which might be wrong. In my personal opinion, it might not be the right way. But we cannot disregard what their concerns and their agitations really are, which is what we need to sit down and have a conversation on. And I like how Professor Soludo and Valentine Ozibo were able to address this issue and were able to show readiness to solve the security situation if they become governor in Anambra State. And I'm very impressed with someone like Valentine Rozibo, who is from the PDP, who is not a regular politician, who just moved from being a businessman into the political circle. Well, I was happy with his delivery and how he spoke about his ideas. The PDP for us is an interested party in what's happening in Anambra State, and the PDP is hoping to take charge, of Anambra, which is good as we prepare for 2023. So I'm just saying that we can't disregard the agitations of IPOB. We need to sit with them, we need to hear them out, and we need to be able to itemize how we can solve their problems one after the other. We need to engage them. We cannot disregard them at all.
All right, let me touch on the issue you raised, talking about the low turnout of voters registration and the rest because of the many issues of insecurity. When you look at the concept of democracy, which is obviously based on the majority, do you think this is going to make for free and fair election? Do you think we are going to be able to elect the right people, owing to the fact that a large proportion of the citizens of Anambra State have not gotten their vote, they have not registered for this election, they are not prepared? Will it give room for us to elect the right person?
Well, anyway, INEC is working with what they have right now as we speak. But it is important that even with what we have, let it be smooth, let it be free and fair and transparent. We can address the numbers afterwards, because the INEC chairman, I hear him say the reason for the low voter registration was because INEC, due to the security concern in Anambra, was unable to do their voter education and do the necessary campaigns and all the necessary things they need to do to make people come forward to register and be ready for the election. Well, you can't disregard those statements by the INEC chairman. But like I said, even with the numbers we have, and we want to see that the elections in Anambra happens free and fair and transparent. And I was in the INEC office the other day over here in Lagos, and I was impressed with how the process they have set in place really is. The new system they have set in place and how they can transmit election from the polling unit straight to the collation center. You agree with me, if you have been part of election monitoring over time and looking how the trajectory go with politics in Nigeria, you will know that the rigging starts from the collation center. And with this system, if we can transmit our results to the necessary and appropriate places with what INEC has put in place, that I can see that we can have a free and fair election in Anambra. Just the numbers that will be discouraging. Just the numbers. At the top of my head now, I can't remember what the population or the voter population of Anambra really is, but we know that that number will be low, and it will be due to the security concerns in Anambra State. But whatever we have now, me for one, I would say, let us ensure that we have a free and fair election in Anambra State, and we are seeing how INEC conduct this because it will be a template for what will happen in 2023.
All right, let me quickly touch on security once more. Are you okay with the preparation from the security system of Nigeria? Of course, we know that certain group of people are hiding under the shadow of IPOB to perpetrate evil in the southeastern part of the country. Yeah.
Well, the preparation of the security agencies have been okay. The IG has sent about four DIGs to Anambra State, and I hear over 1,000 policemen have been deployed. And you can see the other military agencies aside the police with their show of force the other day. You can see that they are ready and they are prepared to protect Anambra people to cast their votes. But we know in Nigeria, once there are security concerns, there will be discouragement and people may not come out. But I think for the first time, I'm happy with what they have put together. Yeah. And I hope that it will be enough to make Anambra people safe while they come out to cast their vote. And we hope the election will come and go without any news, any bad news of any issue of casualties or any issue of security. And that is my own personal prayer for this election. But the preparation from the security agencies, I think they are prepared. I think they are ready. And we hope that they can comport themselves and manage themselves professionally as they go for this election. Because over the years, if you can recall, you will know that the police and other security agencies, they play some very, very, very funny role in some of the issues that happen during elections. You know, if you look at what has been happening over time. But this time in Anambra, I'm praying personally that they will comport themselves with all sense of professionalism, and they will discharge their duties like patriotic Nigerians who are serving Nigerians and Nigeria to ensure that there's a free and fair election in Anambra State. I'm really hopeful.
All right, for the sake of time, as we begin to wrap up, what would be your general comments and parting shots regarding this issue, the road to Anambra election, you know, the many issues of insecurity in that region, especially those who also have economic activities in that region? And for our friends, brothers and sisters there, would you advise them to go and vote? Would you advise them to stay at home because of the insecurity? What would be your parting shot generally?
I think I want to encourage people to come out to vote. Because this is your civic responsibility, this is your power as a citizen, and this is where you choose your leaders. Regardless of what is happening in Anambra, if anybody is hearing me from Anambra State, I want to encourage you to come out and vote. Come out and vote for the candidate that has appealed to you most, that can solve the problem. And I've narrowed this down to two candidates I see. I would have said, oh, let me be so biased to say, oh, vote for the PDP because, you know, my interest in the PDP. But I'm going to say that vote for the candidate that appeals to you most. There are two candidates that have clearly shown the capacity to take Anambra to the next level. Valentine Ozigbo has done a good job in his manifesto. I think he will deliver well. But come out and vote. Don't sit at home. The more you sit at home, the more you relegate your civic duty, and the more the problems will continue to go on, and the more Anambra may not be able to develop the way we want it to be. But come out and vote. You will be safe. Securities and agencies are there on ground. Just come out and do your part, and by the grace of God, we know this will come out in the end a fruitful one. And this will now set the templates for Nigerians as we are on a mission to try to
2023,
rescue Nigeria 2023 from what is happening is really bad. It's really bad. I thought we were going to touch about the PDP convention and how that went. I don't know if there's time for us to just say a few things on that because that's a part also that I'm willing to touch. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we address that, you know, in our next conversation, and way forward to address political issues in the nation, the PDP, the APC, and preparedness for the forthcoming 2023 election. A very big thank you for your time this morning. I really appreciate you, Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, that was Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, a public affairs analyst, talking about the forthcoming Anambra election and what we should expect. Hopefully, by next week, we should be talking about positive things from the election, and we hope that the security agencies just sit back and do their job professionally to make sure that they curb the many issues of insecurity in the southeastern part of the country. We'll just take a very quick musical break, and when we come back, Daybreak Africa continues.